I am going to go over Google Classroom and how to submit images from different devices, as well as some Chromebook various settings and tips that we can spend some time going through as well. I'm Monica Daniel, and I'm new to the district, and I am one of their ed tech specialists helping with all this virtual stuff and different things that we have going on that we're working through. So I'm excited to be here to help and share this information. And this is just my contact information. And if there's something that you think of later or you're needing help in anything, please feel free to reach out and email or call me at any time. Standard norms that we've been working off from this start of this year in this virtual world. And so we're going to ask to stay muted, although with a small group, if there's something you feel you'd like me to repeat or interject, please feel free to do that at any time. We are a smaller group, so it's easier to just stop and make sure I don't miss that in the chat. This one was be patient. If there's something that you really, really want and maybe someone else is, sharing something, we'll just make sure we take our time to be patient with each other and also that we stay positive. As far as our BCSD core priorities, we're going to focus on priority 1, a culture of collective efficacy, so that we are all collective capacity of our staff and the ability of staff at each school to positively affect student achievement. So we're going to focus on priority 1. And our BCS mission and vision, this is something we do address at every PD that we provide. So our vision as a district is to be a model of excellence, equity, and innovation. And our district mission is to educate all students at the highest levels. Today's learning intention, we will learn the steps families need to know so they can help their students add images to work in Google Classroom assignments. For our success criteria today, we will know when we are successful when we can provide step-by-step instructions to help our students and families upload resources. So for today, these are the 3 things I'm going to go over today. Number 1 was to upload images from a cell phone or a tablet device. So that might be an Android, an iPhone, an iPad, all these different tablet devices that might be available will work the same as though any mobile device. For number 2, insert images into an assignment. And number 3, just some overall basic Chromebook settings and updates needed for the camera that might cause concern later on as well. So with the first one, I wanted to make sure the first step that we need to share with our families is that they have to download the app. So the app for Google Classroom. So on here, I did put the images that look different from an Android versus an Apple device. So if it's an Apple device, they're going to go to their app store and they're going to find this blue one. If it's an Android device, which is your Google, your Samsung, any device that's not created by Apple is going to access the app through the Google Play. So they would then download the app and then we can get started into accessing classrooms. From there, they locate the app, they search Google Classroom, and then they can click on it to open. So before they can do anything, they do have to make sure that they download the application onto their phone. Because even if they go into, say they go into Safari, the Google search, and they go in and sign into their browser on a tablet or a cell phone, it's still going to look different and they're going to lose features that they don't get in the app. So we're going to want to make sure to instruct parents to download the app. From there, we're going to have to then open it. So there's a lot of steps. So they search it, they download it, then they can open it. So once they open it, they're going to get this window that says get started. And there's a little check mark at the bottom that says sign up for emails that are updates to Classroom. So I've recommended that we leave that on because if and when there is an update to Classroom, if that isn't on, they're not going to get those notifications to update. And there might be glitches later on that aren't working because it's not the most updated Google Classroom. So I have recommended that we leave that on. From there are a couple steps that they need to do initially when first setting up their Google Classroom for the students. So here it will ask you to add another account. So this is where they would select here. They would add in the student's BCSD accounts and then the password. So this step can then be repeated or will need to be repeated if they have more than one child in the district. So they would add each student's BCSD login information. So on here, they would have, Monica Daniel, Sophia Daniel, Matt Daniel. and they would be able to then select between students in their classroom. So initially, if they have one student in second grade, they're going to add in their student's email and their password provided by BCSD, the same information that they log into their Chromebook. And then from there, the first notification they're going to get is to deny or allow. So allow classroom to send notifications. I would recommend to leave that on. Again, there might be some families that aren't going to want to get those notifications, and they're just going to want to do it when they check it or when they open the app. But if we leave it on, if and when there's an assignment or something posted from the teacher, they will be notified because they have the app. So on here, I am selecting allow. Once they select allow, they can then see the classroom. So for this one, it is set up as a third grade classroom. So they have one Google Classroom, and the student could then click on that, and then they actually gain access to the classroom. So once they actually sign in and they get the classroom, you are now in the class. And the first initial thing you see is this stream tab. So the stream tab is where you can make announcements, and some classwork assignments are also posted to the stream as well. And then you have the people. So when they click on people, they would only have access to their child, not all the other students in the classroom. From here, I was directing them to then click classwork, because although some classrooms might set up their classwork to also populate to the stream, some may not. So it's always best practice to send them to the classwork tab, because we know that all assignments will be posted there either way, whereas the stream may or may not have every assignment posted. So once they open up the classwork tab, this is where they would then look for the assignment. So you can see that I only have one assignment here. So it's easy to see, oh, well, that's the one Mrs. Daniel wants us to do. But if your student had more than one, the parent would really need to know what assignment they're adding to. So we would just want to direct them to know the assignment that they're adding. So if we send a message to Parent Square, or we're telling our students which assignment to post to, we just want to be clear in what assignment they're looking for to help mom and dad take those pictures and help them upload as well. So once I go to classwork, I can find the assignment, and then I would click on it, and it would then open to this next window. Here, it's going to tell me more about the assignment. Here, it just has my title and maybe a due date. But over on the right-hand side, it's going to tell me 100 points, Math Chapter 4, Lesson 6, and it's going to tell me the numbers I need to do and a little bit more description of the work. So from here, once they open it, so here's their assignment, they opened it, and now they have to select your work at the bottom. So once they select your work at the bottom, it then appears a new window. So from this window, it's saying, are you going to mark it as done? Or are you going to add an attachment? So we're going to want to add an attachment, because the thing we want to do is add pictures. So from here, when I hit add attachment, I get another pop-up. So once they actually open the assignment and hit your work, it says add attachment. The next window will appear, and they can find use camera. There are other options here. So if they had their picture in their drive or work in their drive, they could attach it here. But the one that we're having a lot of questions about is, how can a parent or a student use a cell phone to add a picture? So we're going to say use camera. And then the next thing that they're going to select is to gain access to the camera. So this new app, Google app, is asking, can they allow access to camera? So you're going to want to say okay, because that's going to let you take pictures from your class, from your home, or from anything on your device, and insert those images into your Google Classroom assignment. So once you say okay, they then can align any picture inside this shape of the phone. So here I took my daughter's math work, and I just hovered over it and I took a picture. So once I take the picture, you can either retake if it's too dark or if it's not exactly what the parent or the student want, and they would select use photo. So once they select use photo, it starts to upload. And once it's done, you will see that it's attached. And this does happen on the cell phone. It does give this grayed out look in the background. So it does get darker, and it just shows you that it's working on uploading. And then it gives you the turn in. So once it uploads, it populates up here at the top, and parents and students are going to be directed to select turn in twice. So it's kind of saying, are you sure you want to submit this assignment? because you're going to hit turn in once again. You can add more than one picture. So if you can see right here, I have multiplication added. They can add an attachment and they can add more pictures. So if they wanted to add 3 pictures to one assignment, they can do that as well. And when they've added all the pictures, then they would submit turn in. To get started, the first thing you're going to want to do is open up your App Store on your cell phone and find Google Classroom. From here, you will hit download and you will see the circle begin to download. Once the app is finished downloading, we will be able to open our Google Classroom and add an account. Here you can see we can now click the word open. Now that the app is open, you will be prompted to select Get Started. Once we have selected that, we will have a new window appear, and here you will select Add Another Account, so you can add your student BCSD Google account. A new window will appear, allowing you to sign in to your student's Google account. You will then hit the blue Next button and be prompted to enter your student password. Once you have entered the password, you will select the blue Next button. A new window will appear showing your student's classroom, which you can select, and then the classroom will open. At the bottom, you will see the word Stream, Classwork, and People, and you will select Classwork. Then select the assignment and a new window will appear. Here you will select your work at the bottom of your screen and a new pop-up will appear, and you will then select Add Attachment. Once I select that, a new window will appear and you will now select Use Camera. Once I've selected Use Camera, I will get a notification appear on my phone asking me to allow access to my camera. Here you will select OK, and now you will be able to take a picture of any paper, worksheet, or activity to submit to your teacher. Once I have my picture, I can select Use Photo, and now it will attach that picture to my Google Classroom assignments. Here you can add additional pictures or you can select Turn In. Once I select Turn In, that next pop-up will appear and I will select Turn In once again. Now my assignment has been submitted and my teacher can see my picture. And that is how you upload images to your Google Classroom assignment. There are many steps to get there, but once they actually have the app on their phone, it then will only be finding the assignment and adding the image. Initially, it's find it, download it, log in, make sure we have access to the classroom and we can see it. But once you have it in there, it is just then going to classwork and finding it and uploading a picture. So it does streamline itself a little bit once they've added their student account. Next, we were going to go into inserting images into assignments. So students can use their Chromebook camera to access their camera and take pictures by holding it up to the screen and inserting into assignments. So we're going to spend a little time on that. I know time goes so fast. So you can insert images into various assignments. So you can insert them into Google Slides, Google Docs, Google Drawings, and the process is exactly the same. So from any assignment, you can go to the top bar and hit Insert, then you would hit Image, and you'd get this little window appear, and you can select camera. So students can then hit their camera, they can take selfies of themselves, they can take pictures of anything they put in front of their camera up at the top, and then insert them into a document and then manipulate them as well. Assignments can be created in Google Classroom with a blank attachment. So you can add a Google Doc already to an assignment and have the students insert a picture from their Chromebook into that assignment instead of uploading it from a cell phone, depending on our age. So we may not ask a TK or kinder to do that, but maybe a 3rd grader, 8th grader, they can import a picture from their camera on their Chromebook. So the way you would go to Classroom and walk through those steps. So we'll go to My Classroom, So if I create a new assignment, I can say Monday meeting. I can hit create, and then I can hit doc. So that will automatically create a doc that is blank for my students. So it popped open right away. But here I would then want to change, make a copy for each student. So I didn't actually have to go to my drive, create the assignment, and then attach it. If it's something that maybe you're wanting the students just to immediately take a picture and drop it in while you're working, you can pre-create this just in the assignment when you're creating the assignment. So again, the next thing you would only have to change is make sure that it's a copy for each student. So they're importing their pictures from their own devices. So I'm going to do that just one more time. The way we would do it is if you're in your classroom, you would go to create, assignment, and then from here, I can hit this create button and I can select any one that I want the students to enter their image in. So I can go slides. It will create, it will even open if there's anything I wanted to add to it. I can add in directions inside the doc if I wanted to, or I can close it and just make it so that each student has a copy. Close that out. And right here at the bottom of this slide, it does say now select, make a copy for each student. Remember, if we forget to do that, it will not let us go back and edit. Once we publish that assignment, we then have to delete it and start again because it will leave it as everyone is an owner of that document. So we just want to make sure that each student has their own copy. From there, this is where the students could take a picture. So take a picture, students can insert selfies, pictures of art, or take pictures of any work that you're asking them to submit. So this is if they have something to submit it into. So if your assignment had a blank doc or a blank slide, they would open their camera and this window would appear. So it pops up, if you can see, and then it turns yellow. And what they would do is they would select that camera. Once they hit the yellow button, it takes the picture. So I had my daughter's work and I was like trying to take a picture and I'm laughing. I have myself in the picture as well. Once they take the picture, it then gives them this little preview to the right of their picture. And then they can see insert, or if they're like, no, I didn't really like that one. Like, for example, mine's pretty dark. If I would have opened up my blinds, it would have been a lot brighter. So if their kids are using their camera, finding a little time to do that, to tell them that having light on does make a difference would be helpful. Because you can see right here, it was a lot of light, but as soon as I put the paper up to my camera, it got a little bit darker, blocking my ceiling fan. So those are just little things that we can help remind the students, like, oh, it's kind of dark. What could we have done to make that a little bit brighter? But the window, they do take a picture by selecting the yellow button. It appears to the right, and then they can insert if they're happy with it. From there, we wanted to discuss some of the edits that students can make to their picture before actually submitting the pictures. So if you were to select a picture, you automatically get that blue rectangle all the way around with little squares in the corners. If you select those, that allows you to drag and drop the picture. So you can make it smaller, bigger, as a whole. If you double click the picture, it will give you these little black angles on the sides as well as one in the middle of all the corners. If you do that, you're then going to get the bottom happen. So I can crop out myself on the side, and I can crop out areas in the picture that I don't necessarily want. So that's no longer resizing my picture, but it's actually cropping and cutting things out that I don't want in the picture. And the other tool we were going to talk about is a mask tool. So with the masking tool, I'm going to go ahead and exit this so I can see, so I can show you, walk through it. So this image is pretty cool because you can actually change the shape of your image. So of any picture, one that's inserted, one that's any size. So if I select this picture, there is this masking tool. So it is a crop image, but to the very right of it, you will see a mask image. If I select that, it will then change my image. So I can do a heart. It changes the actual shape of my entire picture. So that's called a masking tool, and students seem to, they love it. They love to be able to like, well, how did that happen? So it's just another way to edit. So here I select it, I get the blue around. That will, if I select an edge, will resize the picture the exact same size. So it will proportion it and leave it exactly the same. From here, if I double click, I can then crop out things I maybe don't want to see, and it actually deletes it. So the good thing to know is that if we mess up, if we do something by accident, I can just double click and bring it back. So sometimes that back arrow may not, gets a little bit, I guess like my daughter likes to say, a little wonky, and it doesn't do exactly what she wants. So I try to remind her that you can double click and make those edits as well. We move on. The next thing I was going to make sure is to go over our Chromebook camera and updates on a device, because sometimes when our device isn't updated, we may have some glitches on that end as well. So the first one I wanted to show you is sometimes students struggle to find the camera. So just in general, if students are wanting to figure out how to access their camera, the first thing they're going to do is select that search button at the bottom left hand of their Chromebook. Then this window will appear. And in here, they can type in camera, and then the camera will appear. So this is how they would locate it if they're just wanting to play around with trying to take a picture on their device. It's a little bit different from actually inserting it into an application, because that does it right there. This one would actually just take it and save it to their download on their Chromebook as well. So from there, to take a picture, once their camera opens, this entire rectangle space in the middle would be what they could take a picture of. So if they're wanting to take a picture of their family or take a picture of various work or anything they're wanting to do, it would be within this piece of their Chromebook. From there, this button on the far right, it's a big grayish circle, is the actual camera. So they would select it and it would appear on their screen. The other thing that I did find very helpful in the camera aspect on a Chromebook is setting the timer. So they can select this little timer on the far left, and it'll give them a few seconds, 3 to 10 seconds, whichever one they're selecting, to then take the picture of something they're maybe holding up, or okay, let's get ready, let's take this picture. The timer has been helpful for students. From there, if they're wanting to see all the pictures they've taken on their Chromebook, or if a parent or teacher is wanting to see the pictures they have on their device, they would then select the picture icon at the very bottom right-hand side of their Chromebook, right here where the time is. And then their window, this window, and I'm going to make that large just for just a moment. This window will appear as a gallery of all their images that they have on their device. So then you can scroll through by selecting the arrow and see the pictures that are on their device. So that can be very helpful for families, parents, and teachers in the classroom. But what if the camera doesn't work? There's been plenty of times, and last year I had students, my camera doesn't work. It's they click the insert image from camera and it just isn't working. So typically what happens is there are times that students may have played with the Chrome camera and accidentally didn't activate it. So it'll give you that the initial first time you use your camera device, it'll say to allow or block. And sometimes they'll accidentally hit block. So once they've blocked it, they would actually have to go into their settings and unblock it. So if a student is saying my camera doesn't work, it's not appearing, it's likely that they blocked it. So what they would do here is they would then select the 3 dots on their Chromebook. They would go down to settings, and then they would select privacy and security. And under privacy and security, the bottom tab is site settings, which is very small, and it includes camera. So it's super tiny right here. It says camera. So they select this tab, and then they get a new window that appears, and it's camera. So on the camera, you then can see where it says blocked or allow. So as long as it's not blocked, it will work. But if there's a Google Drive or a doc or different websites that they're not getting access to, it's likely that it was blocked here and would need to be unblocked. So again, in the setting options, you're able to view all blocked or allowed sites. The other one that is important on this tab is where it says blocked. There's a little icon, and I'm going to enlarge that because it looks kind of small. Right here, this little on and off button that we do see in our Zoom and a lot of other applications. If that is turned on, what it's going to do is always request permission to use your camera when you open it. So if you have that off, it'll automatically work unless that website or application was blocked. What if the camera does not work? Actually, this part actually also goes with just updating the Chromebook. So if many things seem to not be working, it might be that the Chrome browser needs to be updated. So the way we update a Chromebook is they select the timer at the bottom right-hand side of the screen, and they'll get this window appear. So when the window appears, they select settings, and then the next window will appear. Here at the very bottom left-hand side of the screen, it will say about Chrome OS. So we select that. The next window will appear, and here it will say check for updates. So when you check for updates, if there is an update, it will automatically start downloading right here where this blue check mark is. It will start downloading. And then once it's downloaded, you hit restart. They would restart the Chromebook and it would be all up to date. So this just is just another reason why the camera might not work or why something might not be working on their device. So every now and then it is nice to check that their Chromebook is updated or direct them to update their Chrome. So this is a different resource for that. And I know we have a few minutes before we have to go, but I wanted to show you this. Let me post it in. I'm going to go ahead and open it. It's a Chromebook Simulator. So it actually walks you through the steps needed to help various things. So shortcuts. So let's just say connect to Chromebook. So if I have a phone and I'm trying to connect the network to my phone, to my computer, it will guide you through the steps. And it will highlight and it will give you step-by-step directions. So I kind of find this as a tool that's beneficial for the classroom as well. So if you're wanting to screen share this with the students and walk them through, you know, updating their Chromebook, they can watch the screen as well as hear you walk them through the steps. And it gives them all kinds of things. Use your Chromebook offline, fix different Chromebooks, how to reset your Chromebook, how to update your Chromebook. And I just thought it was an additional resource that would be beneficial to share as well. So I did drop that in the link into the chat, but I know we have 5 minutes. So if you can just take maybe 1 minute to click that open and kind of look through that and let me know if you have any questions before I wrap up our session. Today I did go over uploading images from a cell phone or tablet and provided the link to that video, which I will add to the DFP right after this session. We went over inserting images into an assignment from Google Classroom and creating a blank attachment to each assignment, as well as some camera updates that are needed on a Chromebook just to ensure that students are able to use that if and when teachers are wanting to go that route. From there, our learning intention, did we learn the steps needed to help families upload images to classroom assignments? I hope that the video and some of these steps were helpful for you in thinking what our families are having to do to go through those steps and what directions we can maybe give them if they're needing some troubleshooting in different areas. Our success criteria, did we receive access to resources that will help us provide our support to our families? And I hope that the presentation and the videos and the different resources that we talked about are helpful for you as well. Here we do have 3 EdTech specialists. We do have Ray Shell as our coordinator that you can contact at any time through phone or email. We also have Holly, who is our science specialist, and Connie as our librarian media. So we are all available through email or through phone if you're needing anything from us or any support with any questions related to anything really. So if there's anything we can do, please reach out to us. I am going to drop in the evaluation if you have a few minutes to submit that so we can get some additional feedback or direction on what might be helpful. And I'll be here if you have anything specific that you'd like to ask or any questions you have that I might be able to help with.